Hello, my name is Chuck Wolf. Over the years, I've worked in many different roles, including leading my own leadership consulting company since 1994. I've worked for and with some of the best companies and universities in the world, and have had the opportunity to work with government officials, military organizations, and public and private schools. I'm a leading expert and pioneer in emotional intelligence. Since 2009, I've been a volunteer hosting a radio show I created called The Emotion Roadmap: Take the Wheel and Control How You Feel. I really enjoy making a difference in people's lives. The show is on award-winning community radio station, WPKN in Bridgeport, Connecticut. In recent years, Simsbury Community Television has been sharing my shows on their station and on YouTube. My sincere hope is that everyone who watches regularly will learn how to use the Emotion Roadmap in their own lives by listening to people who call in to get help with challenges at work, home, and in communities. To learn more, go to www.emotionroadmap.com. If you have a comment or question, email me at cjwolf@cjwolf.com. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hi, this is Chuck Wolf, and you're listening to WPKN 89.5 FM, listener-supported radio. And it's a pleasure to be here with you today, and feeling really upbeat today because it's some good news for me personally that I'm experiencing, and I'll share that with you in a minute. But I just want to hope everybody's doing well today, and what might be a good day for some of you not such a good day. But one of the things that this show is about is looking at how you're feeling and trying to help you decide if what you're feeling is helpful, and if it's not, what you might do about it. The show's called The Emotion Roadmap: Take the Wheel and Control How You Feel, and you're listening to WPKN 89.5 FM, listener-supported radio in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and streaming on WPKN.org. And if you don't know already, if you happen to be a listener that likes to listen regularly in our listening area, but you're going to be traveling, or if you're overseas, or if you're someplace where you're listening at quite a distance, you can listen to us with our new WPKN app that's available for your iPhone or for your Android. And it's vast improvement over the app that we used to use. And so I think you can hear us streaming anywhere in the world now quite comfortably. So I hope that everybody is having a good day. And if you're having a challenging day because something in your life is uncertain, upsetting, you have some conflict you have to deal with, some decision you have to make that's going to challenge you, one of the things that you want to think about is simply to understand that there's possibilities around your emotions that are unique and special, in the sense that you are able to change your emotions in ways that you may not know about, that you can learn about by listening to this show. The show's about helping people get more control. Take the wheel and control how you feel is this concept of, I know that my feelings are always influencing my thoughts and behaviors. Some of you know that too, that are regular listeners, and thanks so much for tuning in if you are a regular listener. And some of you who might be just passing through, maybe driving and happen to be tuned in to us today. The show is about helping you understand how much more power each of us has in our abilities to manage the emotions inside of us, and also our abilities to influence the emotions inside of others. Now, why might you want to influence others? Well, of course, it comes to mind that you might have family members whose behavior isn't appropriate. If you're a parent and you want your children to do something different, or if you're a child and you'd like your parent to do something different, how do you influence? How do you influence others? Well, you influence others by paying attention to the emotions that people are experiencing, and the emotions that they have often are driving their thoughts and behaviors. And if you want different thoughts and you want different behaviors, then ask yourself, what is it that this person might be actually feeling? What emotions might be in play? And can I influence those emotions? Can I actually even change those emotions? Or help the person to change their own emotions if they're struggling with the behavior they want to change and you want to help with that? So the show is about people calling in and asking for help with something emotional that's happening in their lives. Some change. You may not even think about the changes or the circumstances that you're experiencing as emotional, but the curious thing I found after many years of being in the field of emotional intelligence and working with people in my professional life as a consultant and coach, or as an educator, or in this world as a volunteer, as a radio talk show host, trying to bring this new type of thinking and this new type of behaving and this new type of managing your feelings to everyone who has a chance to be able to listen to WPKN and my show, The Emotion Roadmap. I want to help everybody learn how to use this concept of moving emotions from one place to another, from one feeling to another. If you're in Boston and you want to get to Bridgeport, Connecticut, or you're in Bridgeport and you want to get to Orlando, Florida, and you want to find what's the best way and what are the ways, or at least conceptually, that I might be able to move myself from one place to another. Well, that's what this show is about, is to help you to try and understand that conceptually and actually experience, when you call me, moving from a feeling that you have that may not be helpful to a feeling that is helpful. I like to think about feelings as unpleasant and pleasant, not what we used to call feelings as positive and negative. They really aren't negative feelings, in the sense that when we feel anger, a lot of times that anger that we feel might actually be very appropriate to an injustice that's happening. Or if we feel sadness, again, it's appropriate when we've experienced a loss. So they're not really negative feelings, but they are unpleasant. And then, of course, positive feelings are when we achieve something that we're really excited to achieve, that we've struggled for. One of the things I saw last night, again, those of you who listen regularly know that I sometimes bring in sports metaphors. Not always, but on occasion I'll bring in a sports metaphor. And I'm from the Massachusetts area, where sports for a young boy, man growing up is sort of part of what you tend to have as almost religious beliefs. And I'm very much a fan of the major sports teams in the Boston area, in the Massachusetts area. And so I was watching the Red Sox last night, and a young man, Roman Anthony, had been in the minors in Worcester in AAA baseball, and he came up. This was his second night playing baseball. And the Red Sox, if you follow Major League Baseball at all, and the Red Sox, you know that they've been struggling a lot this year. And in the very first inning of this game, the broadcast was focusing on the fact that Roman Anthony was going to get up to bat. There were 2 runners on base, and he had not had a hit. He didn't get a hit this first night that he was playing, but he had his whole family in the stands, his mother, his father, his sister, and brother. And they're all watching him. And here he is up at the plate at 0-0, and he gets a double. He gets a double, his first time at bat, and he knocks in 2 runs. And those 2 runs actually were enough for the Red Sox to win the game. He also made a couple of a great catch in the outfield to save someone from getting a hit on Tampa's side, and also another good catch. And he just had a great night. And so it's fun to see somebody's success. And then you see the experience of joy. The mother was so happy, she was crying in the stands, from happiness. And it's just so wonderful to see your children achieve something that they've dreamed about and have it come to fruition and have it come to life. So sometimes we talk about, positive feelings. We talk about feelings that are unpleasant, but the feelings that you have to deal with. Sometimes feelings like that are legitimate at the moment, like anger, may continue too long, or sadness, grieving, may go past what's reasonable. And so we may want to change them at times. Or we may be joyous about something that's happened in our lives, like the example I just shared, but at the same time, maybe we're going to be dealing with someone who's dealing with, an illness, some kind of debilitating illness that they just found out that they have, or that they're going to just found out that they may have something, a loss, and they may have lost a job, or they lost a bid on the house that they thought they were going to get, or something, and there's a sadness. But sometimes when you grieve, especially over a loss of another individual, then sometimes it goes on for too long. And we've got coming up this weekend Father's Day. And I do want to talk today about fathers and Father's Day a bit, because that's coming up this weekend. I have 3 daughters, and as the dad to 3 daughters, I'm actually going to be making a round trip to each of their homes instead of trying to get together like we did on Mother's Day, which was great. All our families got together. My wife and I are going to travel to see them, each separately. And they don't live that far away, but there's some driving we'll be doing. But, I would like to hear from any listeners if you've got something that you want me to help you with. And that's the concept behind the show, is helping you deal with uncertainty, challenges, conflicts, decisions, problems, and trying to understand how to look at them differently than maybe you've looked at them in the past, by focusing on what is it you're feeling, and what is it you want to feel, and what is it that others who may be part of whatever you're dealing with, who are key to what you're dealing with, what is he or she or they feeling? And what would you like them to feel? What would be far better or far more ideal for them to feel? And how do you get there? How do you get from feeling anxious, for instance, to confident or calm? How do you get from feeling betrayed to feeling trusting again? How do you get to feeling unengaged or disengaged to feeling fully engaged if you're in the workplace? How do you overcome your fear of dealing with conflict by understanding the emotions that are in play and having an emotion-based plan to help you to achieve what you want to achieve, by talking about what's tough and challenging to discuss? And yet, if you think about the emotions that are in play and how you want to address them, thinking about how you do that. What are some ways you can get that done? I have occasionally, I like to bring my work experiences into the show. And one of the things that happened over this past week, just recently, last couple days ago, on Monday, I had a group meeting with the people who are in the group that I work with. I'm working with a company in the Midwest, a trucking and warehousing company. And we're teaching myself and the chief executive officer and owner of the company are teaching her staff, her leaders and key influencers in her staff, how to use the emotion roadmap. And the way we're doing it is we're bringing people into the conversations, and in a group setting, we have groups of 8, two separate groups of 8, with the chief executive officer and myself in both groups, and then 2 key leaders leading the other groups with us. And one of the people, well, it's kind of funny because a lot of people are very uncomfortable talking about feelings, especially in front of others. Maybe not in front of your best friend or your spouse or partner, and even then, sometimes people are uncomfortable talking about feelings. But especially in a group now, these are people that you work with. These aren't your best friends. These are just people that you happen to be associated with because you're in the same workplace. How do we get people to feel comfortable talking about what emotional experiences they have in their lives, and how might you use this emotion roadmap to make those experiences better, help you deal with challenges and conflicts in ways that are more thoughtful and meaningful and intentional, and get you better results? How do you get people comfortable sharing? And it wasn't easy, and it isn't easy. Those of you listening to the show regularly know that I'm pretty good at encouraging people to share. And I am even in this setting. And so I just remember a bunch of particularly the fellas, but not all fellas, saying something like, I'm not really a feelings kind of guy. I don't really deal with feelings. But we all deal with feelings, no matter who you are. Everybody feels emotions all the time, in fact. Most of the time we're not thinking about them. It's kind of like you're breathing. You don't really think about breathing unless you've just run up a flight of stairs or something and it's labored and you really understand that breathing is really important right now and you're focused on it. But most of the time you just breathe. Well, that's true about feelings too. Unless you're feeling some intense emotion, you're often not thinking about your feelings, but we're always feeling something. So in any case, I was working with people and helping them learn how to pay more attention to their feelings. There's something called metacognition, which is, kind of thinking about thinking. It's a big term, but what it simply means is to kind of step back and be reflective about what's happening in your life. So one way to learn about feelings is to think about, hey, just stop. All of you who are listening in this moment and ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? Is it how I want to feel? Would there be a better feeling for right now? And I don't mean just listening to me, but I mean before the show started, what was going on? What's going on for you right now? And is it how you want to feel? And the reason I ask, is it how you want to feel, is because you think, well, I feel whatever I feel. And it's just what is. And yet at the same time, it's really important to understand that, yes, it's true. Your feelings are always what is, but they don't have to continue to be what is. They can become what will be. What do I want to feel instead? And why might you want to change your feelings? Well, because you might have something that you need to get done today. And if the feelings you have are somehow an obstacle to what you're getting done, then maybe you want to rethink how you're feeling and think about, I've got to get some work done today. I've got to get this paper out. I've got to get this deadline met. I've got to clean the yard. I've got to plant. I got to get my plants watered. I've got to do something with my car. I have to make sure I get my brakes attended to, or whatever it might be. You got stuff that you got to get done, and maybe you've gone down a rabbit hole like so many people do, including myself from time to time. And all of a sudden I'm focused on different things that have a bit of an appeal and something, because of all these algorithms of social media that check on what we like. It's kind of, they're incented to drive us into certain areas to focus on things that we didn't plan on focusing on during the day. And yet we land up looking because it's something of interest to us. And the algorithm catches that and shows us something that we might want to read instead of doing what we said we were going to get done. But anyway, when you ask yourself at different points in the day, hey, what am I feeling now? Is it how I want to feel? And you realize that, no, it's not, because I said I was going to get certain things done today and I haven't gotten hardly anything done because I got distracted. Hey, I want to feel better about this. I want to change how I'm feeling. I don't want to feel like I missed the opportunity to get done what needed to get done today. So I'm going to feel energized and engaged and focused on what needs to come next. I want to change from the feelings of kind of like being entertained or interested or curious to focused and energized and intense on getting things done. So how do you make that happen? Well, that's this whole idea of a roadmap. How do you first attend to your feelings, pay attention to them, understand that feelings are always important to understand why you're feeling the way you do, but sometimes feelings are actual obstacles to what we need to get done. And so how do you change them? So having said all that, let me just ask, because for regular listeners, I've talked for a few minutes already today. I'm on only for an hour. So if you've been waiting to call me about something that's on your mind that you'd like to have me talk you through, listen to you, try to summarize what I hear so I'm clear on what you're dealing with, and then focus on how you're feeling. And if there's anybody else that's key, how he or she or they are feeling, and what would you want them to feel, and how might we get there? That's what I do in the show, folks. So if you have something where you're having a conflict at work, where you're a leader at work and your people that work for you seem disengaged and you're wondering how to engage them, if you're trying to get somebody motivated to work on something you know they need to do, and they know they need to do it too, but somehow they haven't stepped up and begun the work, how do you motivate somebody? If you've got somebody that you have a conflict with, that you and he or she, they have a different opinion about something that's important, and somehow the two of you or the three of you or more of you have to get together and make a decision that you all support. If you've got anything like that going on at work, give me a call. I can be helpful with dealing with those things. And just in the workplace, I just want to tell you the end of the story of the group I was working with in Nebraska. I just wanted to share one of the people who was one of the folks who early on said, I don't deal with feelings at all. He said, but this last time we met, and this is the 5th week we've met, and people are sharing stories. They come in and they share stories about how they're using the emotion roadmap, or how they're trying to use it, or how they've got a conflict and they want to know what other people think about how they could use it. And so it's a really powerful group sessions that we've been having. And he said, I just want to tell you, Chuck, that first of all, he asked me about me, and I'll tell you about me in a second. I had some health issues that I was dealing with, and they all came out good. So I'm feeling good about that. But he asked, how are you doing? Because I really was concerned about you when you had to cancel our meeting and postpone it until now. And I said, that's so thoughtful of you. Thanks. And he said, and also I want to just tell you, I know I said that I wasn't a feelings guy when we first started this, but I got to tell you, and he shared an anecdote that I won't tell you the story, but he said, I got to tell you, I feel like the caterpillar that came out of the cocoon, and now I'm a butterfly. And I said, do you mind if I share that story when I go on the radio today? He said, no, I don't mind. So I'm sharing it with all of you. Yeah, it feels like you become a butterfly from a caterpillar when you learn how to do these things and be successful at dealing with emotions in ways you haven't thought possible before. So if you want to call me and discuss something, the number to call is 203-336-9756. 203-336-9756. So I'll give you a minute to call because I know it's not easy to pick up the phone and say, really? Am I going to call somebody and get some help? Now, if you're listening a long time, you know that I'm very helpful when people do call. So I don't have to sell you on that. But if you're new to the show and you just happen to be tuning in and you got something that's really, it's been a while now and you haven't figured out what you're doing with it and you're concerned about it and you want to figure out how to deal with it more successfully than what's going on for you right now, why not give this a shot? It's free to you in the sense that you have the chance now to just share with us, all of us. And the reason I say share with us is because when I help you, I want to be helping everybody that's listening to understand how to use this tool. I think if more people can learn how to generate inner peace inside themselves by paying attention to how they're feeling and how they want to feel and making the changes that create the feelings they want, and that they learn how to influence others, how to motivate others, how to get changes in others, not just that they want to see in others, but that others want for themselves, and you can help with that. I want everybody to learn that because I think then the world's going to be a better place. So 203-336-9756. And I'll give you a minute to call because I know sometimes people just are thinking about it and they're not sure. And I'd say, don't wait till the end of the show when I can't help you. Okay, here we go. Hi, this is Chuck. You're on the air. Who am I talking to, please?
Hello, Chuck. My name is Glenn. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, Glenn. Thanks for calling in. How can I help you?
Thank you for being with us today. I appreciate your skill sets. Listen, I've been listening and I made the call, and thanks for picking up. I consider myself relatively intelligent, and I consider myself relatively emotionally intelligent. One of the blessings of my life is to have a wife who's a therapist. So there's often banter that she shares that elevates, my being and my presence. In my current state of life, it's not so much my feelings that I'm dealing with, but I'm wondering if I could ask you to kind of parlay that into an energy shift, if you will. In other words, my work has been relatively stagnant based upon the economy. I'm 37 years in. I'm 64 in July, but I'm having a very slow year. And I might be transitioning into more of a niche specialized design field. But I'm just wondering if there's a parallel between my emotional awareness and application and an energy shift that I can kind of, focus on that and kind of bring new energy into a new refined conduit for production. So what do you think of that?
Yeah. Okay. So that's there's a lot in what you asked about, but I think the key question, if I get, by the way, what was your first name again?
Glenn.
Okay. Glenn, one of the things that I think is useful to think about is what's the relationship between energy and how you're feeling. And that is key to, I think, trying to be helpful to you. And one of the things that I'd like to ask you, because you sound like you've thought about this a lot, is what are you already thinking about doing before I just start suggesting things? What are you already thinking about doing that might be helpful in this area?
Defining this specialized niche. In other words, I'm a landscape designer.
Yep.
And within the realm of landscape architecture, it's either regional, urban, or suburban, or residential. I'm much more of the residential, psychological aspects of space type of guy, much more of an artist than a businessman. But for the 37 years that I've been applying, it's been largely bread and butter. At this juncture, because I have the time, I feel kind of pulled into what I've been neglecting of my truest artistic self over these last 37 years, where I can refine those attributes. And lo and behold, it would be better for me for my truest artistic application or my if you will, calling, aligned with the higher powers that be. In other words, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. There might even be an economical niche profit, application to it. So I'm just taking time to reassess and define and align with a specialized conduit. And for that, I need energy and focus. But on the other end of that conduit, hopefully there's, a profitable market for it.
So what are the things that you found in the past, Glenn, that might have been engaging in the past? In other words, I'm sure there's been projects that you've done over the years, some that have excited you more than others. So what are some of the elements of the things that were key to keeping you at a high energy and a highly engaged level? Have you thought about that at all?
Of course. Every.
Well, for whatever reason, we just got cut off. You want to call back? I'll give you a minute. I'll wait for you, Glenn. Hi, you're back on the air. Okay, thanks. What if you can tap into what some of those elements are? There might be some pieces of information there that are like a puzzle.
Yeah. It comes down to the quality and, the remote characteristics of any given site, residence where there's a dynamic or something to work with. It's having a relative budget and a willingness of the owner to take those risky, if you will, artistic steps that require trust. But I move forward in such a pragmatic way, sharing conceptual drawings that it wouldn't be blind trust. But if you have quality site and a qualified site and enough trust and budget, and there's an opportunity on the site for that opportunistic moment where, it can be overly artistic. And that's the moment that I want to capture and refine, is those artistic pockets within their overall yard or property, if you will. When you have the attributes of the site and trust and willingness, then I can make it happen. So I'm looking to kind of make that more regular in my clientele.
Is this something that you own your own business, or you work for somebody else?
Oh no, it's completely mine, and I work alone.
Okay. And is profitability a major theme for you at the moment, or do you have some flexibility in terms of just being creative without worrying about the profitability at this time?
Well, it's surprisingly, it's been a very slow year, and part of it is to blame with the irrational, unexplained volatility of the Trumpian economy and all the fallout. Rent is not what it used to be, the rental market. So there's a pause.
Yep.
And I have been feeling that, within the market. There's still silly money where I am, but it's not coming my way. So yeah, I'm a little concerned.
Okay.
It might be a good time to reconfigure, retool.
So there's two different, driving forces for you. One is, you need to capture some revenue stream that is gone dry in terms of at least what you had hoped was going to happen this year. At the same time, you want to be more creative. Is there some way to blend those thoughts into something that seems reasonable to you, that's doable?
Yeah, and I'm working on it. I have a stack, 2.5 stacks of books, like all of the more ethereal, artistic stuff that, got me on track in the first place. But it's so refreshing to revisit, the more dreamy side of the profession. So I'm refining that, and I think I can market this niche, not single and separate, but as part of my overall body of work. But it would be a fresh start. I would remarket, with the architects where I am and the high end people that do installations, to see if I could get some traction with them. In other words, they have clientele, they have property. Maybe their clients would be interested in it. Maybe a radio blitz or just some kind of profile to market it.
So you're looking for some ideas that might help you move in that direction. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me. I think I got enough. So, first of all, how you are feeling is you're feeling a little stuck, but you've got some ideas, and you want to find some way to feel engaged and excited about those ideas. While at the same time, you still got to do the bread and butter stuff because that's what keeps you in business.
Yeah, I'm more concerned, or not concerned, but I'm more interested in, like a meditative, vibrational. Here I am, like a beacon, like a vibrational beacon where I could almost attract the work because it's legit, and there's a place for it. So
let me offer you this then. I believe I understand what's happening. So for you to feel more engaged and feel like there's a chance that this could be successful, to feel optimistic. Then here's a couple of thoughts are running through my mind. See if any of them connect to you, Glenn. One is
Sure.
you've been doing this for a long time. You said you got a lot of years in. So I'm guessing that some of these people that you're thinking you want to sell this to are people that you're somewhat close to. And some of them are more maybe open than others. Does that sound right?
Yeah, in the past, but at the same time, I think most of the audience or the potential clientele would be new. They wouldn't be repeat.
So the people that are the people that are doing the installations, though, or that are working with these high-end people, they are people that you have relationships with or not? You'd have to be new relationships, or these are some that exist?
Both. Either people that do design, build, maintenance, high-end estate work, or architects, that or interior designers that know the clients well, who would be interested in kind of a one-of-a-kind installation.
So when you approach these people, how would you want them to feel about what you want to say to them to get them excited about what you want to bring to the table? What would excite them?
If they were willing enough to make the call, if they were intrigued enough by the conceptual idea, that my enthusiasm walking the site with them and finding a portion of the property that would be ideal, a unique sense of enclosure to stage such a work of art, it's like environmental art,
right.
Here and now, I think that I would be able to walk them through it, and it would be complemented by graphics, like just very simplistic graphic, but it would be powerful. And then again, my enthusiasm really does speak for itself. So I think the three of, their willingness, the graphics, the opportunity that would present itself in a given area of their property, and my enthusiasm would help sell it all.
And what would be so what would be motivational on their end for them to want to do this with you?
That it would be kind of a unique work of art, something that they could, a place to commune and dialogue in their own private time, in their own little world, a little pocket to meditate, or to show off with their friends and family, to stumble upon, just something else that's very unique in the property. You take the trail, you turn to the left, and you're like, wow, and there it is.
So one way of perhaps trying to be get your started on this is it's kind of like when you want to get any kind of project done that's sort of outside of the scope of what you do every day, is that you want to, if you really want to be committed to this, you set a time frame for yourself every day to work on it. I don't know if it's an hour
right.
or a half hour or 2 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
But you commit to doing something with it every day. But the other thing
Yes.
that it seems to me that would be useful is because you want other people involved with this, and rather than coming with a fully laid out plan, if it's me and I'm in your spot, I'm thinking, who can I take to lunch and just say, look, I got some ideas that I'd like your help with. I don't want to try and sell you on something, but I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? How could this be sold to your clients, and how would this be helpful to you? And so rather than come in with a pitch that says, here's everything I've thought about, and I want you to think about this and tell me if you can sell it, ask them for help in putting it together.
Yeah. I could do that with 5, 10, or 15 people in various, aspects of the industry. And just eyes on the market, because it's always changing and everyone has a different perspective. Thank you. I like that.
So if you take that in and you start talking to these people, first of all, your ideas are going to get better. Secondly, you're going to find at least a few of them that might want to actually, let me try and I think I got a client for you. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
And then if you start thinking like this, then the excitement's going to come back into your life and it's going to change everything for you, I think.
I like it, Chuck. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Is that good enough to help you get going on this?
That's wonderful. And I hope I haven't taken too much of your time. And thank you so much for what you do.
No, you're exactly why I do the show. Thanks a lot, Glenn. Thanks for calling in.
All the best. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. So that's how the show works, folks. Is you just call in with what's going on and you try and listen to you as best I can. And if I can, see what you're already thinking about and then see if there's something that I might add that might be useful to you. Everything's different too. That's the first time I've had one about creative landscaping. By the way, Glenn, I actually love to landscape myself. It's something I do a lot with in my own home. I love fragrant flowers and different kinds of all kinds of bushes and trees, and it's a ball for me. It's one of the things I really enjoy. Anyway, if you might write to me, email me about what you're thinking about it. That might be fun for me to look at what you're doing too. Anyway, so if you are interested in calling, again, the number is 203-336-9756. 203-336-9756. Okay, you're listening to WPKN 89.5 FM, listener-supported radio, streaming at WPKN.org. And there's a new app that you can download. You go to WPKN.org and you can download the app for your Android or iPhone. And the app works great. I use it myself because I'm not in the listening area where I live. And so when I want to listen to PKN, I use the app. The show's the Emotion Roadmap. Take the wheel and control how you feel. I'm Chuck Wolf. And the show's about helping people with challenges in their life, whether at work or at home or wherever it might be. So if you got something on your mind that you'd like to share, please give me a call. 203-336-9756. I'd say don't wait because I've got about 20 some minutes left and I've got time to talk to you if you want to call. If you're really thinking you got something. Yep. Okay, good. Hi, this is Chuck. You're on the air. Who am I talking to, please?
Hello. Yes. Good afternoon. Sorry. Yes. Good afternoon.
Yeah, it is afternoon. It is afternoon.
Sorry, I just woke up from a really good sleep.
Okay. Yeah, could I ask you what your first name is? And you are on the air. I just want to make sure you know that. Okay.
Understood. My first name is Joe.
Joe, fine. Okay, thanks, Joe. What can I do for you today?
Yeah, I'm just calling to want to hear out from one dad to another.
Sure.
I heard that you said you have daughters,
right?
And I have one daughter, and she's a great young woman, intelligent, hardworking, stands up for what's right, and so so much more. Not that I'm putting her on a pedestal, but I do appreciate what she does. My thing is, I don't know. Lately, it's like she talks to me, but she don't talk to me as much. Sometimes we haven't really spent a lot of time. And I don't know if it's something I did in the past or I said something, that's affecting her. But I always encourage her, just like my two sons, hey, I'm here. Talk to me, and even if it's something I never experienced, I'm always there to listen and maybe come up with suggestions or solutions that they could try to apply. But I don't know, it just feel like, me and her, there's distance between us, and I just don't know why. And it hurts.
Yeah, and I understand. And you'd like, so what you've said, Joe, is you've got a relationship with your daughter. You got one daughter. From dad to dad, this is what's going on for me. I wonder and you're asking if there's something I might say or do or suggest that might be helpful to help you get closer again with your daughter. That's what I heard.
Yes, correct.
So Joe, one question I have for you is: was there a close relationship in the past, and how long ago was it, if it was, or there never was really a close relationship?
It, it was close for a long time, but I feel like when she started hitting her teens, things kind of changed. I mean, things did change in some ways, like, really haven't talked as much. I don't know. I don't know if, and this is not to degrade women or, degrade my daughter. It's just like, I don't know if it's a woman thing or phases she's going through in her life.
How old is she now, Joe?
She's 20.
She's 20. So since her teen. So it's been a while that it hasn't been the way that you would like it to be.
Yes. And I'm like, I'm always all about doing my best as a dad, not just financially, not resolving their problems for them or anything, but just to have some time, conversation, go places. And it's not like I never took them anywhere. I always leave the door open for my kids. Hey, this is where I'm going. Or if you just want to go here, let me know ahead. I'm just giving an example. Let's say we, want to go to an event, let me know ahead. So I buy tickets and we go.
Do you find yourself when it was close trying to solve the problems that she had by offering what you think she should do a lot?
No, I think it was more like I'm trying to find it.
What are you looking for?
I just feel like I don't know if was I not there enough, because I was there many times. I don't know if maybe a certain situation or situations, if I was, I don't know, maybe I was being overprotective and didn't realize.
Well, I'm not trying to second guess you. I'm just trying to understand, what actually was going on for your daughter. So, I mean, it's not unusual for, any teenager to pull back from their parents in general.
Yes.
Right. I mean, that's pretty normal, and it's pretty healthy in some ways, actually.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm trying to wonder what caused what you're saying is more of a distancing between you and her. By the way, is it the same thing happening with your sons, or are you close with your sons, you think?
No, I'm close to my sons. I have one son, he's 28, but he's in another state now. But yet we still, even in the midst of our hard times, whether I did something wrong or we got into conflict, he would still come back and, give me a call, or we would actually spend some time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have a great bond, even with my other son that lives here in Connecticut. We've had our bumps and bruises, but we always manage to still keep a relationship, to still keep some kind of bond.
And you haven't mentioned a wife or a mother. Is there someone else in the picture?
I was my 22-year-old and my 20-year-old son, my 20-year-old daughter. I was married to their moms for a few years or so, and I mean she's still involved in their life as well.
So it's somebody that you're divorced from, but there is a mother in the picture.
Correct. And I don't know if maybe I didn't do something to like, hey, let's go do therapy. Let's work things out. Okay.
All right. So what are your assumptions about why you think it might have gone the way that you did? You've thought about this for a long time, I'm pretty sure. So what do you think has happened?
Like you mentioned, Chuck, even though I know she's in her 20s, but she's not in her teens no more, because like you said, and it is factual that, and we were all teens once, that we go into that phase, we pull away, we're exploring, we're we're doing all these different things in our life
Right.
to find who am I in the world?
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to do with my life? You know.
So you think
I
that
don't know if
so you think that kind of shifted, that you're saying that's appropriate. She did do that, but it never came back like it did with your sons.
I'm gonna be honest, Chuck. It's a two-part answer. It's a yes and a no.
Well, tell me what you mean.
Like, I don't know. Sometimes she would be more focused into her friends
Yeah.
than her parents or anyone. Like,
Yeah, Joe,
tough for me, Chuck.
yeah, no, I get it, but I'm trying to think of, have you thought about what you could do? Have you tried some things to try and bring you back together? Is there some stuff that already happened that you've done?
Yes, I have. You know, like I said, I always leave the door open for them. You know, when it comes to going out, it's not about.
Yeah, but leaving the door open isn't proactive, Joe. That's just like
That's true.
You know, but have you done anything proactively where you actually went out and talked to her about this or tried to change this in some way that you can point to?
I have tried, but it seems like I don't know. I haven't got no answers.
So you've reached out to her? Have you taken her to
Yes.
lunch? Have you just called her on the phone? Have you asked to take her to a place, a show, or go for a walk in the park? What have you done that it's actually something that you can point to?
I have reached out to her. You know, sometimes phone, sometimes it would be text. I'm not really a person fond of texting because I feel like it's a non-connection.
No, I'm gonna run out of time, Joe. What have you done? Okay, not what don't you do, but what have you done?
Well, I have done. I have tried to talk to her. I have suggested for us to spend time.
And she's turned you down, or she won't talk with you, or what?
She talks, but not. I don't know if it's something else going on.
Have you actually asked her specifically what you're asking me? Have you said to her that I feel like we're not close anymore and I'd like to be close to you? Is there anything I can do? Have you said that to her?
Yes.
And what does she say?
Yes, but I haven't got an answer on that, a reply.
Have you thought about reaching out either to her mom or to your sons, if they have a relationship with her, about what they might think would be a decent idea?
No, but that is an excellent suggestion.
I mean, because it seems to me if you've tried, because obviously the thing you want is to be able to talk to her. But if there's a block of some kind, and she's not willing to go down that road for whatever reason, she may have legitimate reasons, because obviously I'm just talking to you for a few minutes, so I don't know what the history is. It's going on for a few years. But there might be something that someone else who's in the family or connected through, relationships, may be able to help you with. Because that's the only other thing I can think of is that if you've reached out directly and you've tried to talk to her, part of me, let me share this with you, because I think it's something worth thinking about. I look at relationships with my children, my daughters, as things that I will never, ever give up. And that doesn't mean that we haven't had problems at different times, because we have. But once I realize what my role in any of the problems are, I commit to cleaning that up. I don't give up on that. I won't give up on that. Maybe I die before it gets fixed, but it won't be for lack of trying, because you never fail at this until you say, I give up.
Yes.
So if you're committed to a relationship with your daughter and having it be more, I'm not going to say it's ever going to be great, because I don't know what's on her side of it. But just for her to know how much you care about her, how much this is important to you, how much you love her, I can't believe that that's going to be harmful in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she might have some things over the years that she feels like, no, this is why, Dad, and I never wanted to say this to you because it's going to be hurtful or something, but maybe you need to hear something like that. I don't know, but it seems.
Absolutely. If
Yeah.
that is the case.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you got to just deal with it and move on from it. But I think the idea of trying maybe to enlist the help of, is she close with her mom? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe that's where you start. And I don't, if you can clean up that relationship or if it's good enough that just say, look, I'm really trying hard to be more in our daughter's life. And I'd like to, I'd like, if possible, if there's anything you could tell me or help me with, I'd really appreciate it. And just be really, that way. And also tap your sons in case they have a relationship with her and they know sort of some stuff that you might not be aware of.
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes, that helps, Chuck. And, I want to say thank you and, a pretty happy Father's Day to all the fathers everywhere,
Thanks a lot for saying that too, Joe. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We just gotta keep on doing the best we can as dads, regardless of, financial stats or where we are as men, regardless of our age in life as dads.
That's absolute. It's beautiful words, Joe. I absolutely agree with you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And thanks for the call and best of luck with this. I hope you find a way to reconnect and make it better. And like I said, you never really fail as long as you don't give up.
Agree. Thank you, Chuck.
You bet. Take care now.
Okay. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that's pretty much my show for today, folks. I got a couple more minutes, but in case anybody else wants to call in and talk about dads, that's, if you got something quick to say about your dad or you are a dad and you want to call in, 203-336-9756. And I will, while I got a minute, I'll just say a little bit about being a dad and about my own dad. I was thinking about my dad, and my dad's, it's been almost 40 some years since he's gone. He died somewhat young, and I still miss him. But, one of the things I believe about, at least in my own way of thinking about things, is I do tend to believe in an afterlife. If you've heard me talk about this before, I'm kind of a pragmatist. I see no upside to not believing that there's an afterlife. And if I'm wrong, I'll never know. And if I'm right, then I'll say, I always knew. So anyway, I like to think that he's still up there and I occasionally still talk to him. And there are wonderful lessons from my father about relationships and storytelling and things that I carry on in my life that are a reflection of him and me. And I love that about thinking about my dad. And as far as being a dad, I just want to be the best possible version of myself, kind of like what Joe just said a moment ago, Joe. So if you're still listening, it's like, how do I be the best possible version of me? And I'm not perfect. None of us are. And if I make a mistake and I own it, and I will clean it up quickly rather than let it fester. I was upset. I started to tell you I had a health issue going on for me, and it was something to do with my heart. But it turns out I have a good heart, so I'm in pretty good shape. But it's scary when you don't know, when you're uncertain, and you have to get tests to find out if you're okay or what's coming, or if you have time. We all know our time is limited here, but we don't know exactly when. But if we all of a sudden know we have less time than we thought, it's scary. And I was abrupt with one of my daughters the other day. We got into a conversation. I knew after I hung up, I said that wasn't right, and it wasn't the best version of me. So within 15 minutes of realizing that, I called my daughter back and said, look, I'm scared. Something, you know what's going on. And I never should have done that with you. You just, I really apologize and I'm sorry that I did that. And she said, Dad, I kind of knew that was happening. And I didn't, and I assumed that was what it was about. But thanks so much. I really do appreciate the call. So when you got something that you do that you screw up and you don't get right, don't wait on it. Clean it up. Own it. Be responsible. I always like to think about, I'm not always the best possible version of myself, whether I'm as a dad or as a husband or as a friend. But that doesn't mean I can't keep trying and clean up when I make mistakes. Same for you. So if you want to feel good about Father's Day, clean up whatever's going on with your dads out there. If you got something going on, you heard what Joe said, and maybe it's just some stuff that crossed over the bridge a long time ago that it was hard to deal with at the time. But you know what? It's been a while. Guy loves me. I love him. I want to get past this. I want to move on. I want tomorrow and today to be great. Yesterday is yesterday. I can't change it. But I can change how I feel about it. I can change how I think about it. I can change the way I behave as a result of it by focusing on what's the best possible version each of us can be going forward. So to all the dads out there, do the best you can, enjoy life, and be as responsible and as loving and as caring and as supportive as you can be. And forgive other people's mistakes too.
Happy Father's Day.
Thanks, Nick.
I miss my dad. What a character. I wish he was here right now.
Thanks, Nick.
You take care.
You too. Nick Jacobson was moved by what I was just saying. Thanks, Evie. Bye.
For over 40 years, SCM
has been the voice of our town,
bringing us together through local programming,
education,
and live broadcasts.
SEM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community,
ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings,
and celebrating milestones
like our high school graduations.
But today, SEM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions.
And it's no secret, people have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SEM receives less revenue,
even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open,
continues to educate our youth,
and keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SCM, I've been honing my creative skills, helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive
for generations to come.
Visit our website
or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media,
where your town,
your schools,
and your government
come together.